Alright guys, I haven't really been doing a whole lot. I've been waiting on those panels. I actually did have a guy who I met on Instagram make me a pretty sweet 2-lane blacktop scoop, but I'll show you that kind of once it's on the ground all together. Pulled the wheels off. I was just in the wheel wells doing some seam sealing and undercoating and all that sort of stuff. But these are the panels that arrived. They're a fortune for what they are. They were like 150 bucks by the time I got them each, but what are you going to do? So that should kind of cover most of that. There's going to be a little bit of a piece right there I'm going to have to fill in, but I'll live with that because they don't sell us the patch panel. They sell this whole piece, and since I've already raised the wheel wells and it's a new panel up to there, and actually this stuff's in pretty decent shape, and I've heard this is original, I think, and the stamping on this is quite a bit nicer than the repop panels I've heard, so the bumper kind of looks better and all that in there. So I'll just fight it out and kind of make a little piece there. So yeah, I kind of mocked it all up there, and it looks like it'll all be the right length. They're all kind of meant to fit into each other with these little lips and stuff like that on both the tail pan and these little side ones. So I'll have to pick what I want to do. I'll probably just nip those out and be done. I think I have to do some sort of kind of zip cutting in there. It looks like it folds over to the fender, the inner fender, or the inner trunk, I guess I should say. So yeah, I'll probably just kind of cut out some of this. I'll mark it, cut it the whole way across there, kind of tack weld it in there. Same on that side. Fit the tail pan, make sure it fits to this piece I've put in, which it better because it's all welded together and bolted down. And then once that's all in there, it'll really be all together. Then I just got to work on whatever this little gap's going to work out to be. But I'll do that from the back side. But yeah, so it's pretty exciting. Lasts a little bit. I mean, they're pretty good panels. They look like all the bends are pretty solid and all that. So I'll put those on and show you how it turns out. I'll just give you guys quick updates. So I just kind of got this test fit. It's kind of close. I hammered this out as much as I could with a hammer and dolly from the inside. It's a bit of a pain. And I just got it kind of ground down. So that's actually a nice good metal up there. And then this here, it's kind of a loose kind of curve. So you can see around here, it's got quite a bend to it. So if I can kind of get this out. So that's what I'm actually left with. There's actually all good metal in there. So I'll, this is all rotted in here though, but I'll probably just kind of cut around in here a little bit, maybe nip some of that off just to get this kind of fit. And then once it's in there, I'm kind of happy with it. I'm basically just using kind of that as a guideline. And then there is here, I use the zip cut the whole way up. It's got a split where the two panels kind of go, and you can see there's actually a lip on the inside there. And I'm going to keep this one as well. It's got a little lip right there, so it just kind of fits in, butts up, and I'm sure it'll be close enough. So I'll get that in there, tacked in, do the other side, and then yeah, put the piece across and start testing the trunk and make sure it's good. But the trunk did fit good, the gaps were all good, it was just full of filler. So once I get down to good metal and I start working away from it, everything should work out. So I'll cut this out, get it all traced, and yeah, see how that goes. Alright, here we go. So the piece is all chopped out there. I had to massage down here just a little bit to make it fit, and then I ground down as much as I could here. The other panel had a few little spot welds in there, or whatever, plug welds. So I trimmed this to fit. It's kind of hard to do with just one hand, but I mean, overall, it'll fit pretty close. This side I tried hammering out the best I could. It's still got a gap there, but I'll kind of tack weld it in, and then I'll probably end up cutting that out or doing whatever because there's some rust there anyways. But overall, I mean, it lines up, you know, pretty decent the whole way around. So I'll put a few tack welds on there. I'll move on to the other side, and then I can fit that sail panel in. Alright, so I got this one kind of just tacked in there. It was all apart, and then I got going on this side, so I actually got this side all kind of done too. It's hard to get far away from the car because it's up on stands. I got the garage door right there. But I just kind of gave it a quick little test fit. Good enough for me. Same thing on this side. Close enough. So, I mean, that's pretty good. On the inside, I got to still kind of, as I clamp it in, I'll pull it in a little bit. And like I said, this is the tail pan. It's kind of hard. I test fit it before. It fits okay with only one hand. But you kind of get the general idea. Unfortunately, like I said, because both of these panels have that little extra tab on, I'll probably just cut the tail pan. But the overall kind of shape is there. And you know, so I'll cut those off, test fit the trunk, make sure it closes, and then that's that. Definitely there will be some work. There's quite a gap in here. This is all full of like old lead and stuff, so it's a pain in the ass to get in there. But I did keep as much of this as I could from, you know, from the good part of it up here, so it will have that kind of gentle curve. So I'm hoping I can flip it this way, and then it'll kind of match a little bit. I'll be able to just do the bottom, you know, maybe here to there, whatever I got to do to make it work. But I'm sure there's only probably 3 or 4 clips I did tonight, but I worked on it all night. It was a bunch of cut and tack welding, closing the trunk back and forth a zillion times. So I'm gonna leave it there because I'm calling it a win for tonight, and I'll be back at it tomorrow. All right, guys, figure give you a little update here. The GoPro battery's dead, so I was charging it, but I ended up fitting in this panel here and welding it all in and going underneath and getting it all there. So it's, that part's pretty solid. I got the side pieces both pretty much where I want them. Again, the trunk closes, looks pretty decent. The trunk actually has a bit of a wow right here, so if you look down up, it's got a bit more of a gap right there. But on the edges, it's good on both sides. And then the trunk lid's actually not even on straight. You can see that the body line on that side is real tight, and it's a little bit more on that side. So the deck lid has to go around, but close enough for me. Everything seemed to go pretty good. So that's that. Now it's all together. I guess I just have that little bit in there. I have to weld the new panel on the inside of the trunk a little bit, kind of finish around there as much as I can, and then this is going to be the tricky part. So it's all kind of lined up the way I want. So now it's got, this part is all together, the sail panel, the trunk floor, everything's all welded together, so it's not going anywhere. I'm going to work my way around to there on both sides, and then, you know, obviously I'll maintain this shape, which I want to keep, and then this will be the aftermath. But I want to get all the new metal right, and then I can start working with the old metal, because there's still lots of filler. I'm sure I'll get all the way around there and it'll look like crap. So that's what I'm working on tonight, and I guess in the weekend we'll see how it goes. Alright, guys, got this all welded up there. It's all seamed the whole way across there, in there, all the way down. On the back side I welded the I guess the trunk, whatever you want to call it, inner fender, truck wall, whatever, to it on both sides. So you can kind of see that. So it's got lots of structure to it. I can shake it around, it's not moving or anything, and still got this whole half to deal with. So now that's what I get to work on. So that's all dealt with. I'll probably grind that all out, make it look nice and everything, and then kind of figure out what I want to do in here. It's got a bit of a gap there, so I'm not too sure. This side is actually not too bad up here, but I can kind of, I had to grind it all out because it was all full of like lead and stuff like that, and you can tell up here I was welding, got real ugly in a hurry. It still had that old lead in it from, I guess, the original, when it was originally built. So I'll have to do something in there. I have a piece of copper I might just run in the back and then just kind of weld that down. And then this side, all I have to do is just this little piece in here. So that's actually not too bad of a repair at all. This side, however, because it's so caved in, I hammered out the best I could, but it's pretty rough, and you can still see there's lots of filler. I'm sure once I get around there, it's going to be all crinkled up in there. So that one might have to be cut out and replaced, but I'll grind this all down, make it look kind of pretty. Then I'll start, you know, while I got the grinder out, I'll clean up both sides and see what I got. Here's where I made it. So I managed to get this piece in somewhat smoothed out. I haven't got down in there too much, but overall it's pretty decent. I mean, you're still obviously able to see the seam. I'll put some filler in there. It's a bit of a pain because as you get closer and closer, you start hitting all the old, you know, whatever, lead and stuff like that. So it's a bit of a pain. I managed to fill in here because that was, this whole piece here was non-existent. So I actually ended up doing is I used the spare piece here. So I cut up in this section that I obviously chopped out, and then if you just flip it around, that's what I ended up using. So it worked out pretty good. It's got that kind of compound curve to it. So I cut a little patch, kind of welded in there, hammered it over, and that was that. The only thing I've noticed now is on this new panel, this body line right here is very rounded, and when you go over here, it's very squared off, and this looks pretty factory. So I'm not too sure what that's all about, because right here you're obviously going to see where it goes from square to round with the new panel. And then on the old panel, I don't know if this is just how it's supposed to be, but this little piece goes straight out and this one goes out and has a curve up. So I'm not sure if I should grind that flush or not. So I got a little bit of Googling to do tonight and all that. But yeah, that's that. That's how it turned out pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with it. And then over here, I'll probably end up doing the same thing. I saved the chopped out piece from there, so I'll you know, probably cut out there, pull this out as much as I can, tack it so I got a nice ring the whole way around. And then I just gotta, yeah, see what I can do there and fill in just a little patch and weld her solid and problem solved. So it's actually it went a lot better than I thought it was gonna go. Overall, I mean, it is what it is. Alright, well, the plan changed as I was working. Originally I was going to use this piece. Well, as I was going, I just, you know, I had to weld it together. Before I put a few slits, and I just kind of put a screwdriver in there and pulled it out a little bit and tackled it, and I just filled it all back in, down and out. And I mean, good enough for filler. So now this was the real rotted place, and it ended up going pretty far over. So instead of putting it like that, I'll use this. So same thing, I'll get it kind of in there, get it tacked in, and I'll just kind of fold it over, weld it in there, and then that's that. Like I said, because the replacement panel's so round and the car's so square anyways, I mean, it's just going to have some filler to sculpt it around as it is, so I'll do that. Then I got to fill in this little bottom area, and that's it for metalwork on the back here. Alright, there we have it. Both sides done. It's a little rough or whatever. I got to get in right in this area there, and as you can see, that's kind of hard here. I'll turn the light on. Up in there, it's kind of tricky up to get in there with a file or something like that. But yeah, both sides pretty much there, ready to go. So I'll let that kind of cool off a little bit. I was gonna seam seal down in there where it joins the panel. I just tack welded it in. Should be fine. Let that sit, finish painting the trunk. And then there's a little bit of grinding I gotta do just right on the edges here where the trunk seam is and stuff like that. But ultimately, pretty much ready for a quick coat of fiberglass. So I'll probably get on that. I want to get this thing down off the ground so I can roll it around a little bit. So I had a few things I want to finish off in the wheel wells. A little bit of undercoating and stuff like that. Get it away from the door. It's been a real pain in the ass, but oh well. It is what it is. So yeah, I'll get that done. Get a quick coat of paint in here. Show you how it all turns out. Alright guys, so I put a little bit of fiberglass on the back here, and I gave it a quick sand there just to got the seams there, in there, got to file that out to paint all the way around and stuff. So it's pretty good. It's pretty much ready for a little bit of filler. I did a little bit of work on the rockers while it's up on stands, but I got the wheels back on. I'm ready to drop this thing down, mostly just because I want to see what it looks like. I had a buddy of mine make a aluminum scoop 2-lane blacktop style, so I just kind of want to see what it looks like down on the ground instead of up on the jack stands. And also just a pile of them at the front and nothing at the back, so at least once it's on the ground I can push it forward and backwards and probably start getting some body work and stuff like that done. But check out the scoop, right? You have to see it down on the ground. Alright, well, I just dropped this thing off stands. Cleaned it up a little bit because it was looking like crap. You can really tell the way it looks with that scoop. It turned out pretty sweet. I was pretty stoked on that. So actually a local guy made that for me. Actually met him on Instagram there, and it worked out good. So if anybody's interested in that, I'm sure let me know, and I'm sure he's interested in making more. But it's perfect. He made a couple of them there, and this is one that I got. And when I was going over it, it's this is pretty correct to the actual movie. But what I'll probably do is I've already talked to him about making one. This one's 6.5 inches tall, I think it was. And I had this is remnants of some tape I had on it, just kind of sizing it up. But ultimately I was talking about making one about 3 inches tall, ultimately. So basically be the same thing. That way it'd be kind of more street legal. They're pretty snarky on some of the rules here and stuff like that. I think a big honking scoop like that would probably draw a little attention. So I'm gonna get them on that. And I was thinking I gotta figure out a way to have this attached to the car so I can take on and off in a hurry, with some pins or something simple, because obviously it's the look I want, but you got to compromise a little bit when you're driving. And then the back here's looking pretty sad. It's all sagged out there now. It's on the ground and everything. Before I had those coilover shock kind of adder things, the just the top of the crust was right level with the wheel arch, so it dropped down 1.5 inches, 2 inches type thing. So it looks kind of goofy right now, but like I said, new springs are on order. I'll have to get that, and then it should look pretty good. Otherwise I'll figure out a way to lift it or do something different there, because it looks a little weird all squatted down. But otherwise it's really coming together. All the real hard ugly work is done. Unfortunately I got a lot of sanding ahead now, but I feel motivated again now. It's down on the wheels and the hood scoop just sitting there. Not gonna lie, that was a pretty solid investment to stay motivated. But I think that's what I'll leave it for today. I think I'm heading in. That's the end of it. Alright guys, show you where I'm at. So car's down, pushed the head a little bit. I put some filler on, gave it a quick sand, so it's just down in 40 grit right now. But the general shape is there. I still got to get in there because it's kind of an ugly spot by hand. This is the little transition piece. It turned out pretty decent. And then in there as well, it's not too bad. So I'll probably give it one more coat there. I might even just go right to glaze. We'll see what happens. It's just kind of right down the seam. There's a few little spots around there. I want to keep this little curve, so that'll be a little bit of sculpting to make it look nice and perfect. But overall, it's right down to bare metal the whole way around and all that. So it's just a little bit right where there was lead anyways. And then the 2 seams. So it should be good. Nice solid car. But I think I'm calling it for tonight. I know I didn't really do a whole lot of filling when I put it on and all that, but I'm sure you've seen me put enough filler on and sand it off that gets a little old in a hurry. So yeah, that's that. I'm going to call it for tonight. I'll be out probably tomorrow and put a little bit more, a little skim coat of some glaze on there, sculpt it out a little bit, maybe just fog it with some primer and then carry on, because obviously before I paint the car, I'll go over the whole car and make sure it's all nice and perfect enough, I guess. Because I still want to, I got to finish this side. It's driving me nuts. That's the last little bit that's kind of left. Finish welding up in the door jamb and all that. So I'll get on that. But like I said, finish out this trunk tomorrow. And yeah, it's going pretty good. All right, guys, here's where I'm at. I finished this up, so it's decent. Still needs a little bit more love, but good enough. Finished off front of the wheel well there. And then just right under the door I had a little bit there, but it's just roughed out in 80 grit. There's still lots of dings and sanding scratches, but I want to put some primer on it because I'm tired of looking at it all patchy around here. Actually, it's turned out pretty good. You know, I got to get in here, which is kind of ugly, a pain in the ass, and then all the little kind of string that's fallen down there. But I'll do that at some other time. Just this one spot I totally forgot about, so I put some more filler on. So once that hardens up, I'll just give it a quick scuff. And then all the way around here, same thing. It's actually not bad. It's got a few lumps here and there, but I want to put some primer on it just so it kind of looks like a car again. And then get back to body work, you know, kind of when I want to finish it up. But so that's that. Just gonna let that harden up, give it a quick scuff, and in the meantime, I'll probably prime this up so I just feel better about myself and it looks nicer to look at. So I'll put some lay some primer down. I'll let you know how it turns out. All right, check it out. A little bit of dark gray primer. Sure has a more of a 2-lane blacktop vibe with the dark primer on the back. So this is terrible now after I see that. Obviously got some different stuff there. Around back, can't get too crazy because the door's in the way, but it turned out decent. It's still wet and all that, so it'll dry a little bit flatter, but that was a pile of work over, oh god, probably a week or so to basically make it look the exact same as it was, other than now it's got metal back there, so just a bunch of fiberglass paper towel. But now the car is basically done. All the rough work is done, which is awesome. It should last forever. I mean, there's probably a little more filler on there than some people would like, but ultimately it'll sit in the garage and be driven in the summers, so it'll be good. So yeah, I'm calling it there. Like I said, I'll probably carry on the next project. I don't know if it'll be the deck lid or I'll start pulling the front end apart. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do next, but I'm sure you guys will be the first to know.